What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Barry Production here. Today we're going to be working on my 2002 WRX. As you guys know, in my last video I've been having transmission issues. I'm still currently having those same transmission issues. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull my motor out. After we get my motor out, we'll go ahead and get the transmission out and get that sent off. Hopefully we can't figure out what's going on. So come check it out, guys. Alright guys, you always want to start with removing your battery. Simple step, couple nuts, couple cables. Alright, now we'll go ahead and start removing some of the zip ties that I have in place. Some of them are in place for hose clamps. Some of them are in place just to retain the throttle cable back. So we'll go ahead and get those out of the way. Now we'll go ahead and start removing some of these vacuum hoses that are attached here next to the top mount intercooler. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start removing some of the brackets that retain the top mount intercooler. We'll go ahead and get those couple bolts out of the way there. Pull off the hose to the blow off valve. Now that we got these worm clamps loosened up, we could go ahead and finish loosening those. After that, we'll remove the one remaining bolt that's holding in the intercooler. From there, our intercooler should be mostly free. We'll go ahead and remove that from the throttle body. After that, we got one more hose that runs from the blow-off valve back into the intake. Once we get that worm clamp off that, we should go ahead and be able to remove the whole assembly. From here, I'm going to remove the two bolts that hold the throttle body cable in place. Then I could go ahead and remove the cables themselves from the throttle body assembly. Then we'll go ahead and move those out of the way, give us some room. Now I'm removing the serpentine belt cover. It's one bolt and one nut that's over there on the right hand side, and then you just go ahead and pop it up. Now I'm soaking the exhaust bolts from the turbo to the downpipe. Let those soak for a while with some PB Blaster or some penetrating oil. Now we will go ahead and start draining our radiator fluid. So that right there is the pep cock plug. We're going to put a hose on the end of that and drain it into our drain pan. Now I'm looking for a hose that will fit snug on the end of the pep cock. Once I get the hose on the end of the pep cock, you could go ahead and loosen the pep cock and it will allow it to start draining. Okay, as you can see, we got the hose on the end there running down into our pan. Now we could drain our radiator fluid. Alright guys, we got the radiator draining right now. Now we can start pulling off all the hoses and accessories. So let's get to it. Alright, now we can start removing some of the radiator hoses. Go ahead and get those two off there at the top. Now that our coolant's drained enough, I could go ahead and remove the upper radiator hose from the radiator. Go ahead and get that removed. From here, I'm going to go ahead and remove the overflow reservoir tank for the radiator fluid. Two bolts at the top, then the reservoir should pop straight up. After I got my lower radiator hose removed, now I'm going to start working on removing the radiator. You want to be gentle with it as you pull it up. You don't want to damage any of the fins on the radiator. Oh yeah. Alright, now that I got the radiator out, I'm going to go ahead and start working on getting some more of these coolant lines removed. Got a coolant line back here that is for the heater core. Go ahead and get that pulled off. It may or may not be a little stuck on there. Just go ahead and finesse it off. Now that we got the top hose off, we're going to go ahead and remove the lower hose as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and start working on removing the 2 bolts from the transmission that hold in the starter. Once we get those removed out of the way, we could go ahead and disconnect the power source to the starter and the nut that is connecting the power to the starter. Now that the starter is removed, you could go ahead and work on removing the connector and the power source. Okay, I've been letting the exhaust bolts soak for a while now with some penetrating oil. Now that they've been soaking, we're going to go ahead and break these free and get these removed.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Years back, I replaced the poorly engineered original fuel lines that run under the intake manifold. They get super corroded, and as a matter of fact, they had a recall on them, so I put this new line in with the compression fitting. Now I'm removing the compression fitting. Now I'm working on removing the bell housing bolts. There are a few different sizes. I'm going to draw a diagram, that way I could keep track of what bolts went where. Once the bell housing bolts are removed, I could go ahead and start working on getting the vehicle jacked up. After I get the vehicle jacked up, I'm going to work on getting the lower motor mount nuts removed. You got 2 on both left and right side of the engine underneath the vehicle. Oh, how I love just knocking over my tripod and my phone. I just absolutely enjoy that. Okay, now I want to focus on separating the clutch fork from the throwout bearing. We need to do this in order to remove the engine from the transmission and separate it from the bell housing. So in order to do so, we need an Allen key to go ahead and remove that plug there. So we'll go ahead and get that out. Now that we got that out, we want to work on removing the cylinder pin that holds in the clutch fork itself. And how we're going to do that is we're going to take our battery tie down and thread that in and literally pull back, and it will literally pull out the whole pin that holds in your clutch fork. Here you can see the pin after it's been removed. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, you just thread in that battery tie down and pull back, and it comes right out. Now I'm working on actually separating the engine from the bell housing. It took a lot of finesse. I also have a jack underneath the transmission because you want to help lift the transmission up slightly in order to get the right angle to slide the motor out off of the transmission. sometimes you could get some separation from the bell housing in the engine with shaking the engine left and right, pulling on it, trying to finesse it forward, adjusting your engine hoist. However, I wasn't having any success, so I grabbed the smallest flathead screwdrivers that I could. Um, I went ahead and worked on lightly tapping the flathead in between the engine and the bell housing to try to get some separation. I was successful in getting some separation. It took a little bit of time. I worked with one flathead screwdriver, and once I was able to get it partially separated, I took another thin flathead screwdriver and started working the edge and just slowly worked my way around. I didn't want to damage or scuff anything up too much. So once I was able to get some really good separation on it, I went ahead and kept trying to finesse the motor out, trying to pull it out as much as I could. I also removed the upper radiator hose, got that out of the way. It was definitely taking up some room in the engine bay there. So as soon as I removed that, it gave me more room and more leverage to move the engine around. After I got the pry bar in, I was really able to get the engine separated from the transmission. Alright guys, sorry I grabbed my camera from up there on top of my car and I moved it down here so I could record a closer process of me pulling the motor and forgot to hit play. So here we are. The motor's out. I just jacked it up. As you can see, like I said, I pulled the camera down, set it right down here on top of this to get it higher up, and I missed all that footage pulling it out, actually getting it out. One thing I did do that is a lesson learned is I accidentally left the power steering line on, so it stretched the hell out of the power steering line. Definitely gonna have to replace those now, but the motor is out, so let's go ahead and get it on the ground now. Hey everybody, the ending of this video is a little different from all my other content videos that I've created in the past. Um, the video that you just watched was recorded February 25th of 2023. It is April 21st of 2024. I took a major break off of pretty much doing everything that I enjoy to do in my life. Had a very, very unfortunate event that occurred April 13th of 2023. And leading up to April 13th of 2023, I stopped completely working on my WRX and all my vehicles. I was just focused on the situation that was at hand. For those of you who know me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Had a very, very unfortunate passing in my life, someone very near and dear to me, which was my father. And I really do not know how to deal with that, and I still don't know how to deal with that. So I completely put this video on pause. I had edited it at the time. However, I decided to not even put it out, and I was like, you know what? I just need to focus on my family and my loved ones and myself and my mental health. And so, yeah, I never got around to finishing that video. So I'm finally putting this video out here for you guys. And I know the video was well over a year ago, like I said. However, at the time I was having transmission issues with the WRX. Couldn't really figure out what was going on with it. So I decided to pull the motor. Got the motor out. Motor's been sitting. As of recently, the past couple weeks, I picked up a used transmission for the WRX, and I also picked up a used turbo. Um, I'm going to go ahead and start getting the new transmission put in, which I will put out some content for, and then I'm going to get the new turbo mounted to the motor, clean up some old hoses and corroded vacuum lines and things like that. Then I'll go ahead and get the motor dropped back in the engine, and I'll also be putting out content for that. But I just kind of wanted to give an update on what was going on, and to the very few followers that I do have, I do appreciate you guys and appreciate everybody who does watch. It does mean a lot, and I don't really do this to get anywhere with this whole content creating thing. It's just something that I enjoy to do and hope that other car people like myself enjoy as well. So just kind of wanted to give you guys a little update on what was going on and why it's been so long since I've posted a video, and why I never filmed a proper outro for that video that you guys just currently watched. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in and all the people who do subscribe. If you can, please drop comments. I love interacting with everybody, and give me a subscription or a like if you feel the need to, and maybe even share with your friends. It's always appreciated, and hopefully I can start pushing out some more content for you guys. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.